Blog Talk Radio.
Here we go with the main event of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen in attendance, boxing fans joining us around the world. It's time for the bout you've all been waiting for. Finally, it is showtime.
Here, man, we dedicate our life to this sport. We do thousands of sit-ups in camp. We run hundreds of miles, for the ones that take it serious. And we just dedicate ourselves fully to our craft, man. We watch tape, we have attitude, we rooting, and we go into that fight to lay it on the line.
Basketball fans, the NBA Playoff Banter podcast returns. I'm your host, Chris Carlson. Marshall, my co-host, will be joining very, very shortly. We are back from, another week off, something like that. I think last Monday we did a show. It's good to be back, no doubt about it. One of the series is all but over. There is an odor out there. That's all but done when you're up 3-0. We know the numbers on that one. But we still have some intrigue where we thought we'd have intrigue. On the Milwaukee and Toronto side, welcome back, as I said. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to kind of do a fairly quick recap of both series. Obviously, we'll probably just kind of lay it all out with the Golden State Portland. And what's gone wrong, what's gone right, what's gotten into Draymond Green, and so forth. But we're definitely going to break down, not only how we feel Game 4 is going to turn out. Toronto needs to win that game, obviously, if they want to win the series. I mean, sure, there is possibilities if they lose this game, but we know how important this one is for Toronto. And, for the fans, a 2-2 series going into Game 5 is pretty damn fun. So that's going to be the show today. Welcome, like I said, to the NBA Playoff Banter podcast. It's always fun to talk some hoops. So we'll start with recap review, and then we'll kind of give our take on how we think, this is going to turn out. Well, we've already given our predictions. We did that last Monday. But, now that we've seen 3 games in both series, we can give a little bit more detail. And kind of, will it be Game 5 and it's over? Milwaukee advances, or will it get to Game 6 and Game 7? Because Toronto likely, for that scenario to play out anyway, would have to win Game 4. And by the way, if this is your first time listening to the NBA Playoff Banter podcast, it streams live right here on blogtalkradio.com/Rope-A-Dope Radio, okay? So at Archive, it streams live. It's basically the headquarters. So the NBA Playoff Banter podcast is under the Rope-A-Dope Radio podcast. You can find the Rope-A-Dope Radio podcast to listen to this show, on iTunes. If you rate and review the show there, it helps me tremendously. Player FM, we get a lot of listens from there. Same with TuneIn, Spreaker, Stitcher, all across the board, we're also included in the Grueling Truth Sports Podcast Network, okay? And you can find that on iTunes. You can find that everywhere. You can also head on over to gruelingtruth.net. But with the Grueling Truth Sports Podcast Network, you can find that on iHeartRadio. You can find it on Spotify as well. You can use TuneIn or Spotify with your Siri or Alexa to tune into those shows, or to the Grueling Truth or Rope-A-Dope Radio for the NBA Playoff Banter podcast. And you can listen to it, like I said, right at the gruelingtruth.net. It's basketball there. It's football. It's boxing. It's baseball. It's everything in between. You can listen to the show right there. You can read some articles right there as well. And while you're at it, it can link you right to mybookie.ag. And before we dig into this real quick, for those who are thinking about cutting the cord or have cut the cord and aren't quite happy looking for a affordable cable streaming package, look no further. DirecTV Now. Okay, I actually cut the cord. Before you know it, it's gonna be. Well, I don't even want to talk about it. I was gonna say last August it's gonna be a year, but we're just starting to get spring and summer up in Minnesota, so I don't want to talk about that. But I chose DirecTV Now after going through a couple of different free trials. Speaking of free trials, they have a 7-day free trial. No annual contract. You can stream it anywhere, your smart TV, your smart phone, your tablet. They have the cloud DVR, and the packages start as low as $50 a month. And if you do the Plus or the Max, HBO is included. And for boxing fans and fans of Showtime in general, whether it's documentaries like the Wu-Tang documentary that's going on right now, which is a 4-part series, which, by the way, if you stream it, you can watch all 4 anytime you want. You don't have to wait like a normal cable, but that is $11 for Showtime, by the way. DirecTV Now, 7-day free trial, $50 a month is where the plans start. Now, here's a little kicker. This is a limited time offer. If you prepay for 4 months of DirecTV Now, they will throw in an Apple TV 4K 5th generation. That's regularly priced at $179. You're paying $200. That's 4 months of cable. Yada, yada, yada. Check it out, DirecTV Now. I'm going to go ahead and bring in my co-host and just check his temperature, see how he's doing on this fine late May day. What's going on, man? How you doing, buddy?
It is the last Monday of the year, or of this school year I have to teach. So I got the rest this week, and then Tuesday next week, Wednesday's a half day, Thursday's a half day, Friday go to work, clean out my desk. So I'm down to, single digits. I can count on 2 hands the amount of days I got left of school. So I'm pretty good, brother. I'm looking forward to going home, playing golf with my dad, seeing you this summer, having some drinks, just chilling and not seeing kids for 2 months, which is always kind of a pleasant thing. But
and we got to have our regular soup too. We got to go have our regular soup, our Thursday soup
gotta have
too
our
at our
tortilla
spot.
fix. Amen.
That's right.
Amen.
At our favorite brewery to stop in at.
That sounds. I mean, again, the summer is very, very close. June and July, life is good. Then it's back to the call of basketball. Well, speaking of basketball, coaching or watching, I mean, I'll start off with my boys and my second group of boys. Golden State, Portland, been my favorite teams. I know the series is 3-0. And if you haven't watched all the games or haven't seen a whole lot, you're probably thinking, oh, man, that's kind of like a lame series. I would say Portland's done about as damn good as they could have done in this series, and it just isn't quite enough. I would say the games actually have been pretty highly entertaining. I mean, for my recap, game 1, Golden State.
Hold on. You think Lillard's done as good as he could do in these 3 games? I mean, they could win 1 game, and that would be better than being down 3-0. I'll let you go on.
I mean, yeah, but I've always heard people say whenever your ribs get jacked up, it sucks. He's got a dislocated rib and he's playing. So I'm not sure, to what extent that. I mean, again, I would say that Portland has done about as damn good as they can for a team that literally has Lillard, McCollum, and no one else. I mean, obviously they could have won game 2. Game 3 by no means was
the Clippers won 2 games. The Clippers won 2 games. I'm just saying they could have won 1 game, and that would be better than 3-0. I guess that's my point.
Well, I mean, I agree with you on that. Yeah. I mean, now, could you say Golden State was a little, true, but Clipper, I don't know, maybe Golden State was a little less focused. Maybe the Clippers' style of play suited them a little bit better. I'm not sure. Now I would probably take Portland over Clippers in the series, but I mean, I don't know. It's just if we've kind of been saying the whole show, if Nurkic had been healthy, in a series like this where they are outmatched, having one of their guys that averages, I believe, about 16 and 7 would sure as hell help. So again, I'm not. Again, I think my point I'm trying to make is normally when a fan sees the series as 3-0, you're like, well, that's been a pretty lame series. But I would say, I mean, again, Portland's done about as good as they can. No one really thought they would get it done. Again, in Game 2, Portland came out and embarrassed Golden State. I mean, they were up 17 points in the second quarter. You know, they were fighting back a little bit. They'd had a little time to rest and recoup from the Denver series, and they controlled the first half. Golden State looked sluggish on offense, but with how Golden State rolls, when they get on their little runs, that 15 or I believe the lead was 13 or 14 and a half points at halftime, that thing disappeared quickly. It went from up 13 to, oh shit, we're up 1. And that's the thing that, you know, they do. And even with Game 3, Portland played a great first half. Golden State went on a run. So, you know, you're right. They probably should have tried to win a game. But I think when it comes down to it, they really need that third person. But to kind of go over Game 2, because that really was an enjoyable game, and I'll throw it to you. I mean, again, first, second half, their defense was phenomenal. They were defending Golden State's threes. Curry and Clay weren't getting open shots. Their pick and roll with Lillard and McCollum was working out perfectly. Lillard jacked up 1 3 between two guys from about 35 feet out and hit it. So everything was clicking that first half. But then, you know, second half, there was a quick stretch there where Clay hit a 3, Steph hit a 3, Clay hit another 3, and the place went nuts. And all of a sudden, again, you go from being up double figures to, oh man, we now got a ball game again. Now, to Portland's credit, Golden State's been on those runs where they go on a run, they take the lead back, and then it's a wrap. It's game over. Portland did fight back. There wasn't a wrap. It was like, okay, Portland took a big punch, and they're like, all right, well, dude, we're still in this game. It actually came down to pretty much the very last possession where Portland had hung in there for the fourth quarter because Golden State's lineup of the bench was absolutely freaking hideous, but it is what it is. Our bench is pretty shitty this year compared to years past. So Portland hung in there in the fourth. They took the lead back, and then at the very end of the game, the play that pretty much wrapped up the Houston series is what Golden State went to again, where you had a Steph and Dre pick and roll with the Warriors up 1 point with about 20-ish seconds to go. The Warriors returned to their old faithful, which is Steph is pretty much near half court. Draymond Green goes up to pick and roll the guy who's guarding Steph. And from that point on, when as good as Steph is dribbling, the defenders have to make a decision. And both the defenders rolled with Steph a little too long. He made a nice bounce pass to Draymond to go up 3. After that point, about 12 seconds to go, Lillard is going down to try to shoot a 3 to tie the game, or they could have done a quick 2, but it looks like they're going for a 3. And the man we talked about, I mean, that just we don't talk about enough, but it's so incredible. Andre Iguodala just cleanly swipes the ball out of his hands. Ball game over. Warriors take a 2-0 lead. I mean, that guy is just he doesn't get the media attention that most do. But if you're an NBA fan that watches the game and knows some things, Andre Iguodala just over and over again, Chris, continues to make great plays for Golden State. And it seems like almost every series he does something special. And he helped out again because Lillard easily could have made that 3. He's been making big threes all freaking playoffs long.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And I think that's where, you know, I like to, when someone says something, I just, you know how I am. I'm a little anal with it.
Sure.
When you say they played as good as they could have, well, I don't know about that. That's all I was saying. Because,
Sure.
like I said, well, they could have a game on. They could have won one of the games, and hence that would be better. You know what I mean? But you're right, though.
Very
you
true.
are right. In the last 2 games, really says it. They were in it, not just in it, but like you said, they had a sizable lead at half, which didn't really take long to cut. I remember at work, we're just looking, watch, next 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes. These are the key parts, that third quarter, the killer third quarters. Milwaukee, the last part of the third quarter, we've documented that. And obviously the last couple of years, and kind of in their reign, if you think about it, while they've been ruling the NBA, that third quarter has been just phenomenal. But especially last season, they really were nuts with that. But I still don't want to hear complaining about your bench when if you look at your starting 5 during the season, that's why you guys don't have a bench. You got damn Boogie Cousins that came out. Come on, dude. Come on now. I don't want to hear, our bench sucks compared to last couple of years. Well, you got Boogie Cousins. That was your off-season little signing, by the way, that crushed the fans of the league. So I don't want to hear shit about that, okay? But you're right. It is. Although Looney is pretty damn solid, though, I'd say, for what they need out of him.
Yeah.
But
him
anyway,
and Bell have really been growing up.
Yeah. But here's the thing. Not too many times closing a game have we seen Draymond get an easy bucket like that. Not to where it's on the partial break, and I think he's been doing a great job, not just defensively, offensively, the triple doubles, but man, has he pushed. And you said last week or 2 weeks ago about the lost weight before. That weight shouldn't have been on, but he lost it. So we got to give minor credit for that because it shouldn't have been on or whatever. But hey, he got in shape. And this dude, I haven't seen him, and this actually reminds me of Rodman because there's only a couple things he can do offensively as far as scoring the bucket, right? We know that. He's a little limited when it comes to that. Now, offensively, he can pass the ball, so he's a crucial part of it still. But the amount of times he got the ball maybe half court and was dribbling on a partial break or a full-on break and him just going right to the rack, I think that's been huge. And a lot of times it's not always come off of a miss either. Sometimes it's right after a bucket and he storms back down and it's a great play. However, I don't know how many times in closing moments that it was that easy of a bucket in the last chunk of seconds of a game. To me, that was pretty ridiculous. Like you said, the defenders stayed too long. Both of them stayed too long on Steph. And he draws a lot of attention, obviously. But I go back to how many times have we seen in the last 20 seconds of a game Steph be able to just dump it off and it's an easy layup? Not many times. Not many times at all, actually. It's usually Steph having to be clutch. And that was a clutch move. I'm not blaming Steph for not taking the shot, but there's no way you should get that least easy of a layup. You got to at least make him shoot the ball. You know what I mean? In my opinion, anyway. I think that was a little bad for me. And not only that, but if you just look at the last 8 possessions, 13-0 run in the last 2:26. I think this is game 2. Is that game 2 or game 1? Anyway, no, it was game 2. It was game 2. It was game 2, I believe, because it was Friday. Yeah, it was Friday. So, am I lining that up right? No, yeah. I don't know. I got this stat that really the way they closed, the last 2:26, 13-0 run, last 8 possessions for the Trailblazers, 0-6, 2 turnovers. I haven't liked the way they played like the last part of the third quarter in the fourth. But you're right. I mean, obviously Lillard's, he's injured. But as a team, they're giving up way too many easy buckets, and you're gonna give up points to this team. I understand that, but like I said, it kind of wraps it up in a sum of. But you can't give a layup in the closing 10 seconds of a game against Golden State. You just can't do it unless that person went all the way to the rack and made an amazing play. What are you going to do? Okay, that's different. Dr. J went around the whole thing. Michael switched arms. That type of shit happens. I'm not saying that. Steph will get fouled and flip it up and somehow it goes in. I'm not talking about that stuff. You got to at least make him, take a shot there. But, yeah, overall, they've been in the games. I do agree with what you said about if you're looking at it a 3-0, you're probably thinking, whatever, I don't even want to watch a game 4. That's probably a shitty series. It hasn't been. It has been pretty competitive, no doubt about it. But that's about it. I mean, what else can we really say? Draymond, Draymond did great last series and in the playoffs, but, man, ever since, Curry's played better. Curry's played better, but he kind of was shooting crappy for a while there. But he knew, okay, Durant's out. time to step it up. So he stepped up to where the level, where he it belongs at the elite level, of course. But Draymond Green has really stepped up his game, man, and it's really been a Draymond series so far. And this guy can do so many things. Go ahead. I heard you were about to jump in.
Well, yeah, and you mentioned Portland not wanting to give up the easy baskets, and that's where it really does come down to just having three guys. I mean, Portland would love a Draymond or a Iguodala or a Clay. Like, it really is stupid how lucky they are defensively. Mainly if you're a basic basketball fan, someone tells you Golden State at a bar, you're like, oh, yeah, they got Curry, they shoot a bunch of threes, they got Clay, they got Durant. Okay, and that is true. And all that stuff makes sense, and they are offensively talented. But to have three defenders who are three of, when needed to be in clutch moments, three of the best defenders in the game, that's what really is just an unfair advantage. Because people were kind of surprised that, or people were a little surprised with how, like, Portland's Denver shut down defense, or how Portland shut down Denver. So, they have Jokic, they have Murray, they have all these guys, and they were able to make Denver's offense look pretty weak, especially in Game 7 at home. But I don't think, who's Portland's go-to defender that can lock down Clay or Steph when need be. And that's the thing, Portland's defense has made, they've looked pretty good up until now. Now it's like, well, shit. Now they do need, again, that's where a guy like Nurkic can help. And, they've been wanting to play Cantor, but like as we've known for years after years, Chris, when you play Golden State, your centers on your team basically disappear. I mean, that stuff started when you and I would break down the Cleveland series of, like, all these teams will have these centers or bigs that are valuable pieces to them, but when you play Golden State and they put Draymond Iguodala as the Golden State's bigs, a center can't keep up with them. So I'm with you. You don't want to give up shitty baskets, but realistically, it's so hard to defend these guys, and then on the other hand, they make you work so hard for scoring on the other end. I know you give me shit because I brag about some stuff.
But we know that going in, Marshall. We know that going in. Nobody can beat this team. The closest they came to losing was last year. So we know that, though. We know that going in. So it's up to the stars to produce some defense too. And I think that the two guys, they're stars. They gotta be pretty damn good on the defensive end as well. And that's something they've been ripped at over the years, right? I mean, offensively, defensively.
Yeah, sure.
I'm not saying they should be up, but when you lose a game by just a handful of points and you were 0 for 8 down the stretch, that's on you. That's on you.
Oh yeah,
that's
absolutely.
on you.
Yes,
you got to take advantage of it. You got to take advantage when you're going to Golden State.
And honestly, Chris, I really thought they were going to win Game 3 before Game 3 started. I know we didn't do a podcast after Games 2 and between 2 and 3, but I really thought that they're going home. Game 2 was so close. This is their time to kind of kick it in gear. And the way they came out,
and the way they started too. Right.
Yeah,
right.
absolutely.
True.
It is, and again, if it's 2-1, am I having a breakdown? No, but it could have been a little more entertaining. So, yeah, I don't know. You're right there, brother. So we'll see. What's your guts telling you about tonight?
I wouldn't be shocked if Portland just hits a bunch of outside threes. I suppose like a 3 is going to be from the outside, but you know what I mean. Like,
sure.
I wouldn't doubt if they just get hot and they close it out and they actually win a game and then lose Game 5. That wouldn't shock me.
Oh, okay.
It also wouldn't shock me to see Golden State ultra confident and come out and stomp their teeth in. You know what I mean? And just close it out. That wouldn't shock me either, to be honest with you. I don't know if I'd put money on Portland losing tonight, though. I don't know if I'd put money on it.
Oh, I'm with you. Yeah, I wouldn't do that either. That's I don't know. Yeah, I mean, maybe Lillard can do something special. He's done that quite a bit. So maybe he drops 30 tonight, and McCollum drops 30, and and just something crazy happens. I'm with you. Yeah, I if they do happen to win tonight, though, I don't. This ain't coming back to Portland again. It will close out in 5 games. Whether in Golden State, whatever it is.
Right.
And yeah, and again, for all the teams in the West, this again, Durant leaves, if Clay leaves, I mean, if you're Portland and some of those teams, you always hear so many checks about, well, the whole blow it up, what's the team got to do? This run the Golden State's on is going to end eventually. So, I mean, a team like Portland and a team like Denver that's still pretty young and still building, just, I guess, try to maybe get a superstar too, but I don't know. Yeah, but a team like with McCollum and Lillard.
Let's move on. We can talk about that some other.
Sure.
I mean, we got it. Golden State. I barely even want to start it with the series, but you did a nice recap, so I just let you go with it. But let's get to something where we can sink our teeth in, because we still have a series here, no doubt about it. Coming off last night, obviously, Giannis had a rough shooting game and scoring game in general. He managed to still grab 23 boards, but his 7 assists were canceled out, by the 8 turnovers. Still had a fair amount of blocks, though. I know that. They did get a big bench spurt, 24 and 22 off the bench, Hill and Brogdon. So that's a good look. But overall, Toronto put it together. They put it together. They shot the ball well. Every once in a while, though, I should say from the outside, not overall. They only shot I think they shot below 40%. Let me look real quick. Yeah, below 40%. But they hit 17 threes. And it was just one of those games that it really felt like, okay, Toronto's got it. Oh, wait, no, they don't. Okay, Toronto's got. Oh, no, they don't. And it's funny to see. I kind of want. Sometimes I want Toronto to lose because of Drake, but that's a whole different ball game. Because sometimes he's on the sidelines and it just makes me laugh because he's a tough guy, yada yada yada. But anyway, I digress. Last night, Giannis, when guarded by Kawhi, 41 possessions, 4 points, 2 of 12, over 3, 2 turnovers. The claw clamped him, is what the Bleacher Report said. It seemed like Toronto should have won that game a couple times before they actually did. Was it just one of those things where you're going to have an off night, especially scoring? Like I said, it's not like Giannis didn't do some positive. Anytime you get 23 boards and 4 blocks, that's going to be a positive. What did they just lose? Is it really not that big of a deal? Because they played great in game 2 and we're able to contain them and keep them away to get that, what was it, 108 or to 100 or something like that in game 1. Is it just bound to happen? You know what I mean? Is it just they shot 44 threes and hit 14 of them. Sometimes those numbers still get me, Marshall, where you're like, hey, why didn't you try something else for a little bit longer? But then again, they put up 102 shots, man. They both put up 102 shots. That's crazy. Anyway, I'm over here talking to myself. I apologize. Is it just, hey, Toronto's got to win sometime? It's at home. They did play close in one of those games. No big deal. And Milwaukee's going to bounce right back and get it done tomorrow? Or will, we know they can, but will Toronto win game 4, which is essential in this series for many reasons? We did talk about how they can play good on the road, so maybe they could win game 5. We can't take that out of Toronto because we know in Toronto sometimes they struggle. But what was up with last night games? Is that just like, hey, it is what it is? It just the reason why I'm asking this is because obviously I've mentioned crucial game 4 coming up, but coming off that game 2, it just looked like, man, dude, Milwaukee's just better team than them. How do you feel so far? And does, last night kind of change your mind at all?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it changes a whole lot. I'm still sticking with the Bucks in 5. I think they'll find a way to win game 4. Obviously, you knew from how awful Toronto was in the first game, fourth quarter, where no one scored besides Lowry, you're like, okay, well, that shouldn't happen again. But then they come out game 2 and get smacked. It's like when Lowry's the only guy scoring points for you in game 1, that's kind of been his, like, his Achilles heel. It's like, okay, and then game 2, I mean, that thing was pretty much a wrap about 7 minutes into the game. It was like, okay, well, Milwaukee's got this. So, obviously, you expect them to give another good chance at game 3. Kawhi, again, was doing his thing. I thought he was going to hit another walk-off shot last night, which would have been really cool. Would have been like they might as well start building a statue for a guy. He might only be there 1 year, but you get 2 playoff walk-offs, that pretty much almost deserves a statue for you. So I was kind of hoping that would happen. But that was a fun game last night, especially with the double OT. And then you saw a guy like Gasol, who was a little quieter in Milwaukee. I think it was Gasol and Siakam both had really nice nights off the bench. I should say nice nights as the guys who aren't their main go-tos. Whether it is if you're a star player or, the third or fourth best guy, normally whenever you're at home, almost all NBA players have a little more comfort at home. The numbers always improve a little bit. I think you saw that last night. Besides Kawhi and Lowry, other people got involved, which is something that hadn't been happening as much when they were in Milwaukee. But I do think, again, Milwaukee finds a way. They took Toronto's best punch, and it took Toronto 2 overtimes and Giannis fouling out to win that game last night. So I think they win 4 and 5, and I think they wrap it up and we'll move on. But I don't know. How do you see game 4 going? I think Milwaukee will bounce back, and I think Toronto won 1, but I don't think it's going to happen again. What's your gut telling you, my friend?
Yeah, I think you're right. That game 1, you broke it down really well. Kawhi had a great game if you look at the numbers, but yeah, the fourth quarter definitely, and Lowry said that after too, like you said. It was, and I got the stat here, 3:30 left in the fourth. Milwaukee was down 198, and 10-0 run, 0-8 field goal, 0-5 from 3, and got to the free throw just once, didn't hit it, compared to 2 for 4, 10 points, like I said, and 5 from 6, and they're getting from the free throw line, obviously near the end too. That was kind of like, all right, dude, that would have shaped my mind a little bit different, not a little bit, a lot different if they go ahead and won in game 1. Or even if they just didn't close that way. It's just like, man, what the hell? And I kind of think that game 3 just happened. And Leonard, like you said, Leonard in general is doing his thing too. I don't want to – Giannis had a bad game, so in a sense, offensively anyway. Leonard, and this was actually before the series started, 5 games with 35 points or more in 12 playoff games for Toronto. DeRozan, 3 games of 35 points in 51 playoff games for Toronto. Just throwing that out there. He's a stud, obviously.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd say so. But to bounce back, going into last night's game, the Bucks are they were 10-1 so far. Giannis became the 6th player through 11 playoff games to have 300 points, 100 boards, and 50 assists. The other 5, pretty good names: Hakeem Olajuwon, this guy named Oscar Robinson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Larry Bird, and that's right, Bron. So 1 bad game, you can't sit there and shape it too much for him. I think they'll bounce back, and I'm with you. I actually do think that I hope they don't. I hope Toronto wins and we're 2-2, but I'm feeling right there with you that you made the right call in the game 5 closeout rather than 6 and 7, which is what I believe I picked.
Yeah, and I don't know. We'll see. I don't think Milwaukee's losing on their home court. So, with that being said, I think they're taking the series. And it's just, again, like you said, the way that team spreads the ball and the amount of effort you have to put in to slow down Giannis, where, again, they did that last night. But even so, Giannis had a bad game, but even so, you look at the scoreboard, well, you won in double OT. Again, they had their chances, like you said. That game may have shook it over regulation, maybe shook it over in the first overtime. Toronto seemed to have luck on their side. But again, if you took Giannis out of the element and played great defense against him, and you barely beat the team, it's like, man, what's it going to take for Toronto to have an easy win this series? I'm not sure if that's going to happen. I did just see, as you were talking about that, Iguodala is out for the night, so it's a positive for Portland. I suppose that's one less guy to have to worry about. That makes Golden State have to use their bench a little bit more. I suppose that would make Dre and Clay maybe play a little more defense on the top guys. But Iguodala is out with a calf injury. Obviously, if you're Golden State, dude, the guy's got a sore calf, let him sit. There's no reason to risk him getting more hurt at all. But if you're Lillard busted rib, you really can't sit out now. Now you kind of have to be on the court. But yeah, so I think we're both on the same page for this Toronto. And I'm with you though. It would be cool to have a Game 7. I don't see us having one in the Western Conference. So even in Game 6 or 7 will be a little more enjoyable for the East because with the NBA, the finals date's not going to move. They got that first NBA Finals game set. So sometimes we get like that weird 5 or 6 day break where it's like, okay, we're ready to play basketball, but the TV dates are set, so we're just going to kind of take 4 or 5 days off, my friend, because we've been through that too where it's like, all right, we want to talk basketball, but we don't have a game for another week, Chris.
And before we close out the show, it's a short show for obvious reasons. I want to give you a little time to tell me how good you feel that Durant has been hurt. Curry stepped up. Draymond got back to doing Draymond things. And you have a chance to win it all or at least beat Houston because that's been the closest team since it's been built to beating you guys. Obviously, last year I'm speaking of. How does it – well, even this year too, of course, but you know what I mean. They had the lead, yada, yada, yada. We're not going to go into that. But I want to give you a segment to close out the show. Deep down inside, it's got to feel damn good.
It does. It does. I pretty much ranted about this
of course it does.
Last episode. So, I'm just saying, hey, I've never been a huge guy. On this podcast, I've been wanting him to get traded for Devin Booker year after year after year.
You've never been a huge guy. You've never been a huge guy of Durant since he came on your team. Pause.
Yeah, I mean, up until then, I didn't.
But before,
I didn't really hate him.
You liked him, though. Before you loved him. I just remember when I met you a couple years after when I met you, Oklahoma City was your second squad. We're in agreement on that because remember they pushed the Lakers to Game 6, and then basically ever since they got to the finals and lost and slowly went down from there, that's when you started liking Portland more. I'm just being honest. Durant was one of your guys, dude. Because remember, we had these we'd go on these Westbrook rants because, you got Durant on your team. What the hell are you doing? Oklahoma City was your second best squad back then. Now Portland is after they went through their debacle. But you got to be – I want to give that to you all the way, though. You got to be feeling good because he's still not back, but yet here you are up 3-0.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, I haven't heard anything much good either. I know Boogie wants to come back to the finals, and I think they're saying that
I was going to say
him and
he might come back before Durant. Wouldn't that be something?
Yeah. I don't even know. Yeah, it's been pretty quiet about what's been going on. So I'm not sure. Yeah. But again, if you're Golden State and the team doctor, it's like, dude, why rush you back? If Golden State was down 3-0, then maybe tonight miraculously you see Boogie and Durant on the court. But for now it's like
maybe
just keep getting healthy.
They're down 3-0. It's not a maybe. If they were down lost their first 2 games at home, that wouldn't be a maybe. Now here's another thing. How do you feel about the money that you'd be giving Durant? Just give to Boogie. How do you feel about that?
I don't know if you can give him
Because they got money
as
to
much
play.
with
They got money to play.
true.
But I'm not saying the same money. I'm just saying when Durant leaves, would you be down for maybe Phil? Because there's how many free agents are going to come there? I mean, there are some available and could come there because there's a lot of free agents this summer. I'm not saying that, but Boogie kind of fit in pretty good. What would you think if they did that?
I think I'd be okay with that. I'd be especially okay with that if Clay leaves. I mean, I think it's a kind of 50-50 thing. Well, I hope he doesn't. But the whole Laker Nation
leaves,
lost
then I
him.
could Clay staying. If Durant leaves, I see Clay staying.
Yeah, and I think Durant's gone for sure. I'd be shocked. I mean, they've had so much drama with that team. Again, they've tried to play good basketball together, but behind the scenes, it really hasn't been a good fit since that first year, I guess, of chemistry. But no, I've been happy as hell. Again, it's a little more back to like watching Draymond and Steph and Clay kind of just playing their own ball. And I forgot the numbers, but ESPN said about how now you can't look past a guy averaging 35 points per game in the playoffs, which is phenomenal. But like the way the ball spreads and like the court usage and everything, it's just I think it was an isolation stat. The Warriors' isolation is down like 10% with him off the court, But he's kind of got that hard part to him where, he brings the ball past half court, he's going to let a guy come guard him, and with about 10 seconds on the shot clock, he's going to make a move, and if you're shorter than him, he's going to shoot over. But I'm not shedding tears these out, and again, I think that'll be another fun game. I wouldn't be surprised if Portland won a game to push this on. We'll see. Yeah, it has.
And then
Draymond, that dude, he's been playing. I don't know. He's been playing just freaking phenomenal basketball. And I know a lot of people hate him, but
he's
that
hungry.
dude's been balling out lately.
He's hungry again.
He is.
There's something in him burning again, and I can see it. It's you could just see it in his body. You can see it in his demeanor. Everything is different right now, and he's really. This is when I really love watching him play. Because I don't mind the other stuff as long as it doesn't get to the point where like, all right, dude, what's that all about? That's the other stuff. Like you don't want to bring in you're leaving next year in a huddle during a game. Come on, dude, you don't need to say all that. It may be true, but you don't say it during a game. Like you try to win this game, like mentally sometimes he gets lost, but he's freaking focused right now. He is 100% focused, and I think they all are because once Durant went down, they knew, hey, we got to get back to it. Got to get right back to it. We can glue right away, no big deal. And then one more thing, did you see the Deontay Wilder knockout at all? Did that come across your social media platform or anything at all? Have you seen that highlight at all?
I did see it on SportsCenter. Yes, I saw that punch, and my lord, that was quite a punch, sir. That was quite a punch.
Yeah, it went viral again, dude. This guy's growing and growing and growing. I saw like 3 or 4 people that night at the bar tables talking about it, showing it, and so just figured I like to catch up with the casual fan base and see what they're hearing or seeing or whatever. So, yeah, it was a good look. I mean, whenever you got all this sports going on in one night and early in SportsCenter, like you just said, you saw it on SportsCenter, that tells you a lot. That tells you a lot. So I'm happy for boxing. Anything else, sir, before we get the hell out of here?
No, I'd say we're good. I would imagine we'll be breaking down the NBA Final Series here soon. Although, if it goes 2-2, though, different story, much different story. Well, we think it's going to go 3-1 for Milwaukee. But hey, the summer's close, my friend, and and as Chris has said before, just because the basketball is done, the basketball talk doesn't finish. We will be doing a free agency show, and there's all sorts of guys. I mean, this could be a 2-hour episode free agency show. You have Butler, you have Kawhi, you have Durant, you have Clay, you have Boogie. I mean, this offseason is going to be fun. So even though
you got Wiggins on the market, oh wait, forget it. There's no market for him. Sorry. By the way, next Monday would be Game 7.
Oh, hey, I hope we get a Game 7. That'd be nice. I'm sure one's happened recently, but I can't recall last time we had a. Actually, that's stupid. We had a Western Conference Finals Game 7 before actually Durant went to. And we had one last year. Never mind. I was going to say I don't recall the last time we had. Although when's the last time we had Eastern Conference? An Eastern Conference Finals Game 7. It's probably been a minute because LeBron always took care of business pretty easily. But
that's true.
Anyways, we'll look forward to breaking down these games again. Hopefully we get a little more basketball out of the Western Conference. Not too much though. I want my boys to advance without losing even more injuries. Yeah, Chris, I'll be back again soon. Breaking down Milwaukee and Toronto. Those Raptor fans, man, you've been watching some close and fun games. The blood pressure for the fans in those cities must be nuts. And they lost their hockey team early in the playoffs, so at least they're enjoying their basketball. Yes, I hope you have a very good day. It's been raining like freaking nuts here in Texas. So I'm hoping that wherever you're listening, you're having nice sunny weather and you're maybe playing some golf when not going to work. So enjoy the rest of your evening. We'll be back to talk more basketball soon. The boys are out tonight. Peace.